Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a creative lesson called Wake Up and Smell the Roses for ninth grade ELA. The lesson duration should be 75 minutes, and students should be able to write using descriptive language and also write about a fictional experience to exercise their learning and creativity. And this relates to the Common Core State Standard for English language arts um, in writing for ninth and 10th grade. The introduction should take about 15 minutes. For the bell ringer, ask students to recall the five common senses, and then ask students what describing words or adjectives they would associate with each one. Then, students will have 3 minutes to write about an experience that happened to them recently that refers to all five senses in some capacity, and remind them that they do not have to be used in the same sentence or consecutively. Then, ask students to read aloud what they wrote, and then ask listening students to close their eyes, and then they will give a thumbs rating depending on if they were immersed in experience, if they can imagine themselves in the experience, or if they had to fill in some details. Then moving on to the main activity, you're going to review some sensory words from online resources from two different colleges. Then you'll review the utilizations of similes and metaphors and analogies, and then you'll have students review and pick out examples of descriptive writing in The Raven by Poe and The Yellow Wallpaper by Perkins Stetson. Then you'll have students write for a majority of class, where they will write about an experience they have never encountered before. And this can be somewhat similar to previous experience or experience they can research about and ask their peers about. They have to use sensory words that refer to all five senses and simile, metaphors, and or analogies somewhere in their narrative writing. Towards the end of class, you'll have students turn in their narrative, and as the exit ticket, you'll play a game that involves three volunteer students that have the inability to speak, that have the inability to hear, and that have the inability to see to work together to complete a task. It should be a fun, just game. It might stress some students out, but it should be fun overall. So the task could be simple as like folding a paper airplane, or washing a dish, or making a peanut butter jelly sandwich. For the assessment, you'll want to look for students utilizing sensory words and similes, metaphors, or analogies in their writing to describe an experience that they have no experience with. So this should exercise their creativity, and I would also probably additionally add to remind students that this could also veer into the world of fantasy and can include elements that aren't possible. Here's some of the resources that I was referring to in this presentation about this creative lesson about writing. Some takeaways. I think some students might not be able to utilize sensory words in a tasteful manner. Remind them that less is more and being specific without being exhaustive. And then remind students that they should have fun with assignment. Um, Creativity can be a muscle that students work on, but it doesn't have to be boring, right? So you want to, if they're struggling a lot with this assignment, you can allude it to a conversation they would have with a trusted adult retelling this experience in their narrative. Thank you so much.